Welcome to the Resolve.ai webinar series. Before we get started, let us quickly go over a few housekeeping items. We love interactive events, so please feel free to ask any question in the Q&A section, which can be accessed at the bottom of your screen. We'll answer those questions towards the end during the Q&A session. If there are more questions than we can answer during the session, we'll get back to you, we promise. This webinar is being recorded, and a recording link will be shared after the event. Thanks again for joining today, and let us get today's session started, and welcome our host.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for joining and sharing another session with us at Resolve.ai. Today, we are going to talk about a very important topic, enterprise knowledge management. This is a red hot topic for many enterprises today, especially given the resource crunch and all kind of pressures that we are under. We are going to roughly take around 30 minutes to cover this session and Q&A. I know we sent the invite for 45 minutes, but we are going to probably do it within 30 minutes. So it's going to be a fast-paced session. Hopefully it'll be an interactive session, and feel free to either send a question via the notes or you can just, we will try to answer whenever we can. So let's get started. What is enterprise knowledge? And if you go look up, there like tons of definitions that you'll find. But the way we define it is very simple. Any enterprise, any knowledge in an enterprise that can help an employee do their job, that's enterprise knowledge. So if I'm trying to do something and I'm not able to do it, but I can get some information or help and I can now do that job, fantastic. That's enterprise knowledge. Very simple definition, easy to remember, carry around, no problem. These things can be anything, right? How do I submit an expense? How do I create a report for something? I got married. How do I add my spouse in the benefits? How do I prepare for an audit? How do I access a database? What is the current mortgage rate offered by your credit union? Let's say you're a credit union employee. How do I add user in a new application? There are tons of things that questions that we come across in our daily life, work life, which just force us to pause and stop and look somewhere to find an answer. And enterprise knowledge means that answer should be available to us no matter what, so that we can just continue with what we are trying to do. Some of the most prominent use cases, although the enterprise knowledge is spread all over the company and can have any use cases, like too many use cases, but the prominent use cases that come across you come across as new employee onboarding. Everyone thinks about it because that's a single place where you will have to give a lot of information to the new employees in a short amount of time in an efficient manner. Managing changes. All organizations go through changes. It can be organizational change, it can be application change, it can be policy change, it can be business strategy change. How do you communicate that? How do you make sure that everyone is aligned? So that is another big use case of knowledge management. Contact centers, member support, that's very strong use case. Everyone needs their tons of knowledge and information, and you possibly cannot train everyone on everything all the time. So you cannot train me on everything about my company, even though I'm CEO, right? I wouldn't know, but I need access to some that information sometimes. Similarly, a contact center person needs access to the information, at their fingertips. But that's a very strong use case. Then, of course, sales and front office, right? Your tellers, your front office, your anyone who's in the business of talking to your end clients, whoever they might be. So these are the very common use cases, but they are not the only use cases. There are so many other use cases. There are IT information, the HR information, there is finance information, there's information about how to raise an expense. All those are also part of this. Now, where is enterprise knowledge sitting today? So today it is sitting in intranet. It's sitting in some document management system somewhere. It is sitting in some service desk, maybe. It is sitting in some expert's brain, most likely. And then it might be sitting in some other, unexpected locations. It's almost like saying, it is sitting in a place where you'll not expect it to sit, right? But these are the places where information is spread through the enterprise, and there is no easy way for anyone to go grab the information, because it could be in any of those places, not in a single place, and it can be in unpredictable places. Last one is the X factor, really. So the challenges obviously are as follows, right? There's no single format, so the information might be written in a large document. The information might be, a small video someone created sitting in some other corner. So the information not only is located in different locations, but also it is in different formats. Now, typically the formats, though, I got to say, have been the long form, what we call the long form. If you want some information, it's probably sitting in some document somewhere, most likely, although it might be an internet article as well. But the one thing common about current forms is that they're all long form. That means the information is a long format. And unfortunately, that's not how we consume information today, right? We consume information in bite-sized pieces. We don't consume information in small pieces, and that's a problem. There is not a single location, so the information might be in different locations that we are talking about. So you don't know where what information is sitting. There might not be easy access to information. So for example, if someone in your organization knows a process, how that process works, and that is the only person or only 3 people in the organization who know it. If you're a new employee, first of all, you will not even know who has this information, how this process works. And when you get to know that, XYZ owns that information or has that information, you will be hard pressed to find time with them, and so on and so forth. So access to information is not necessarily very easy. Also, information can get static and stale. So that means if there's an internet page which has not been updated forever, then you got a problem, right? People are not sure, is this the latest information or is it the old information? Now, even though you updated some information, because this channel was not updated forever, you will always question the how accurate the information is. Typically, there are no feedback loops in information. And what that means is that, information flow is generally one way. I'm going to write the information and you're going to consume the information. But what that doesn't mean is, well, did you like the information? Was it useful for you? Do you have any questions? Did I not put anything there? So there are a bunch of things that should form a feedback loop very naturally. But they don't, right? They don't, whoever gives a feedback on document management systems and documents, very rarely people go back and take the effort of, so it's not seamless. It's difficult to give feedback on the information. Anyway, it was a long form information. I mean, typically we are hard pressed to find where the information is. It's a long form information. We are not sure if the information is correct or this document was written now or earlier or 3 years ago, and we don't know how to give feedback. All of that is true in most organizations. And finally, there's no easy connection with the authors. I don't know how I can reach out to the owner of this information. Now, this might or might not be author. The author might have moved on from the organization. But whoever owns this piece of information, how do I get in touch with them? I want to have a quick chat with them. How do I do it? So all these are the challenges in the traditional enterprise knowledge management systems. Finally, one very great thing, like I was saying, information can be pulled. People can pull information, they can look up the information, but information today cannot be pushed. The only way you can potentially push the information is via emails. And you and me both know that emails are, people don't read them. I mean, there's no other way to put it. People perhaps don't read 50% of their emails. I don't read 50% of the emails. I look at the title and I move on, right? So so these are the challenges that you are going through. And finally, why are all these challenges important? They are important because they create what we like to call enterprise friction. If you don't have a great knowledge management solution in your place, you are experiencing enterprise friction. What enterprise friction means is everyone's task is going to be just a little bit more difficult to do. According to IDC and McKinsey reports that we refer to, an enterprise can lose as much as 20 to 30% of knowledge workers' productivity if you don't have a proper knowledge management solution. 20 to 30%. In general, we believe any organization can get at least 5 to 10% lift in productivity of employees if you have an AI-based solution in place. We are talking about 5 to 10% productivity for all the employees who are in knowledge community, knowledge workers, as they like to call it, that category, office workers, as they like to call it. So why is knowledge management more important today? Why are we talking about it now? Why is everyone talking about it right now more than 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Well, first of all, employees are working from anywhere. So everyone got to adjust. Everyone got to help those employees who are working from home or who are not coming to office 5 days a week. Because guess what? When you are working remotely and you have a question, who do you ask, right? There's a, if you were sitting right next to someone, you could turn your head and ask a question to someone. But if that someone is not here, who do you ask? How do you? So it becomes a little bit of barrier, right? So you need to provide better solutions to hybrid employees or work from anywhere employees. Second, the speed of business is just increasing, right? I mean, nobody has time and patience. I've noticed this over the last 20 years. People just have more to do and less time to do it. People have less attention, by the way. So it's a huge challenge, and we all need to therefore change and upgrade how we are approaching knowledge if you want to keep up with the speed of the business, right? Your speed of business is more, and you're using antiquated knowledge systems. It's going to be a challenge. And finally, there's a resource crunch in general, and resource, I mean talent crunch, really. Nobody can seem to hire more people. It's so difficult, right? You can make your plans, you can have your nice budget outlay, you can plan that I'm going to hire 3 or 5 or 10 people, and chances are it might not even happen. So that's a challenge too. Finally, what we are talking about is really that the crux of the issue is that employee support, employee engagement, and employee productivity. These are the 3 problems that you're trying to solve for, right? These are 3 problems, really what we are talking about, that you're trying to solve for by having a better knowledge management, which by the way fits very nicely with our definition of knowledge management, a knowledge that will help employees do their job. Okay, so that's the background. Now, what is this AI-powered knowledge management, right? How does it work? And I'm guessing if you are here in this webinar, you already kind of have an inkling about it, but we are here to know more about it. What are the nuances? What are the gotchas? What do we really need to look for? How do we implement, right? What are the different kind of features? Where is it going? So we are going to talk a little bit about that, but at the core, it's very simple. You have an intranet or SharePoint or some other, location of information, or your knowledge management system, also AI-based knowledge management system, which can have a knowledge of its own. Either a way, basically what you're doing is you're taking this knowledge and you're making it available to users via channels like Microsoft Teams or Slack, and you're making them available in a conversational way where people can just type, hey, how do I do this? Where do I get this from? Remember the questions that I gave you in the beginning? You can ask the questions to the system and AI exactly that way. You don't even have to change anything. If you have a question, and by the way, in all good systems, you'll find a feedback loop and AI learning. This is very important. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but that's also a very important component of an AI powered system. So this is the basic construct, right? No rocket science, but this is how it typically works. Now, what are the best practices, right? Like, what do we recommend? What are the things you should think about? So one, for sure, please provide, don't buy AI powered knowledge if it's not available in Microsoft Teams or Slack or a channel that you're using, because you don't want to tell your users and employees that, listen, there's one more application apart from the 200 applications that you use. I must insist that you're going to use one more application, and that is going to really simplify your life. I mean, that's just not going to play out very nicely. So don't do that, please. So use a system which is in Microsoft Teams and Slack. Second, you do need a content strategy, right? You need content owners. You need to decide, you need to decide what content I'm going to put out there. I'm going to put IT content, HR content, business content, product content, sales content, what content, all of the above, right? All of them are fair answers, but you got to think, what is your strategy? Are you going to do something first, something later? How are you going to do it? You want a product with high AI accuracy, right? You don't want a toy product, as I like to call it. There used to be a lot of toy products, and a lot of them have thankfully gone out of business. Today, most of the products which have survived are decent products, I would say. But you need a product with high AI accuracy. In our case, some of our AI accuracy is as high as 91% in one of our clients. A case study that I'm going to show later. But yes, you need product, very, very good and robust product. Robust is the word I like to associate with it. You want a product with graceful error handling so that, if something goes wrong, it is able to handle that nicely. Then you want, a strategy around who owns, right, the content and who's going to create the content, and, a little bit of, decision metrics, right? Like who's going to do what, because you can buy the product and just ignore it. I mean, a lot of people do it, not this product, but in general, people buy products all the time and ignore them. I don't know why, but they do it. They get busy, right, and whatnot. But the idea is, do have a strategy about how you're going to go about who's responsible for what, right? It's not very time taking, but it should still be clear. And then you need a communication plan to your employees and all the stakeholders, et cetera, in terms of what you're about to do and how is it going to help them, and a little bit of selling, if you will. You need a content style that reflect organizational culture. Now, culture is one thing that a lot of people often ignore, but it can't be ignored because each organization is different. They have a different style of working. They have different. So you need a product that can be customized per your culture, but also you need content strategy that is reflective of your culture. And you need a product that is collaborative, that allows ideas to flow both ways and not just one way. Okay, so what are the features? Now we are going to go down a feature. So last slide was kind of recommendation of what kind of things you should look for and what should be your best practices, but this is more feature driven. So you need a product that can handle multiple departments, right? So people often don't want to go to 5 different bots for 5 different knowledge. It's not just useful. They want to go to a single place for everything. So you need something where you can go for a single place for everything. You need ability for multilingual solution. I mean, especially if your organization is multilingual. You need a product that integrates very well with, with other products. So for example, you use Workday or you use some benefit system, ADP, or use Salesforce, or you use a loan origination system, or what have you, right? You need something that integrates with the whole bunch of enterprise SaaS products that you have. That's something that you need, because I know we are talking about knowledge management system, but eventually You want something that can connect and talk to everything. Then personalization in answers. Now, this is very unique. So for example, if there are two employees asking the same question, but one is a CEO and one is a contractor, is it possible to give them different answers? Yes, a lot of people want it, right? They want to give different answers to people based on what geolocation they're sitting on. Oh, campus A will get a different answer than campus B. A CEO will get a different answer from a contractor, and so on and so forth, right? So you need a product that is smart enough to figure this out and give different answers. You need very actionable insights. So insights are great in any product, but you need insights which are actionable. That means there's something you can do with it, right? For example, if a lot of people are asking a particular kind of question and the bot doesn't know all the answers in that area, then you should be able to quickly be able to go and say, you know what, this is an area where we need to work hard on because, we need to add some content here. You need to be able to send communication to your users, not just them able to pull the information, but you able to send the information. This is something called notifications. And basically in Microsoft Teams, you can send notifications via our app, Resolve.ai. And this is a two-way communication, right? Some people actually send a communication saying, hey, tip of the day, right? Or knowledge tip for the day or something like that. So this can be done on Teams via app. You can do it on mobile apps as well, like our mobile app. So those kind of things are also very, very important because they essentially engage everyone. Ability to send service, another big point on engagement, employee engagement. I know you're thinking, I'm thinking of a knowledge system. Why do you need a survey? Well, you can send a survey. If you use the system in last 30 days, do you have an overall positive experience or bad experience? Boom. We are going to a new office. Do you like the new location? Yes or no? Boom, right? So there's a little bit of engagement because knowledge and employees are connected. And you don't want to be in a position where sending them stuff, but not hearing back from them. So you need a way to hear back from the employees. You need an ability for live chat. That means you are chatting and suddenly you're chatting with the bot, but bot cannot help. The bot can now bring a backup, right? If you will, if you want to talk to an expert in mortgage, can the bot route you there? If you want to talk to an expert of a student support of a particular kind, can the bot actually route you there? So ability for live chat for humans as a backup for bot or backup for knowledge management is also very important, right? By the way, this, similar in the same vein, I will say if the knowledge, suppose you go to the bot and the bot cannot help you, the AI system cannot help you, the knowledge does not exist. What is the next step? The next step can be creating a ticket to the right person, to the author who's in that space and saying, hey, Manish came looking for an information and he didn't find it. So what do we do about it, right? So there are two steps. One, you can improve the knowledge base, but you can also need to answer to Manish about the question that he or she asked, right? We cannot ignore that, which is something very different from your traditional, document management system. You go to a document management system, you don't find what you're looking for. Nobody knows you didn't find it. There's no action, there's nothing, no step. Gamification is another very interesting feature where people are involved, people are associated. You're asking quizzes, you're asking questions, you are getting them involved, you're giving maybe some gift coupons or something like that. So getting people involved and excited about this channel and this knowledge area is very important. You need the ability to route the issues. So depending on the kind of questions that people are asking, who do we need to? An HR question needs to go to an HR, a product question needs to go to a product person, right? So the escalation scenarios, can we route the issue to the right person is very important. So you need a smart solution which can do that. And life cycle management of knowledge, right? Like, listen, they are authors and they're requesters, they're reviewers, and information will go stale. Some information will be created fresh, some information needs to be retired, right? How do you deal with all that? There are multiple departments, there are multiple, one should not be able to write on top of it. So this entire life cycle management of knowledge is very important and very critical. Finally, you need something about collective learning. So learning from the failures, learning from what people are telling. This connects to some of the points earlier, but there are different kind of learnings in AI. There's supervised learning, there's unsupervised learning, there's collective learning. So there are different terms. We cannot go into all the depth of those right now, but you need a system which can learn. Bottom line, that's very important in any system nowadays. I'm going to talk slightly about different term because you would have seen from my previous slide, there are things and themes throughout this conversation, which do not necessarily belong to one area. They're not, you cannot say, I'm sitting and, sitting for a knowledge management and I'm not going to think about learning, for example, right? Or, knowledge is not linked to service desk or, employee engagement tools like surveys have. No, I think what is happening today is, and you will, all of you will find it yourself, all these different silos functions, whether it's a learning systems, which has typically LMS, or knowledge management systems, and even to some extent document management systems, service desk, and employee engagement tools, all of these are merging. They are kind of coming together like big planets which are like coming together, and they'll crash and make a bigger planet. Really, I don't know if it was a good analogy or not, but that's what I have right now. So this is happening, and products such as ours actually integrate all of them. Our approach is all this is same problem, because what are the service desk tickets that where people cannot help themselves? Those are the ones which are service desk ticket. When do you need to learn? How is learning and knowledge related? Absolutely, they should be coupled at the hip. So the point we are trying to make is that all these were artificially created different industries. But when you think about employee and put employee in the middle, you'll find that all these industries are catering to the same thing, which is employee enablement and employee support. I'm going to talk about a case study real quick. There's a credit union, very smart credit union, Pedilco Credit Union. They started with one department with one problem statement, saying, hey, we are changing our online banking or something like that, and our contact center employees are getting too many calls, and we don't know how to deal with that because nobody has all the information, and so on and so forth. We put the solution. They loved it. They put their, they did all the right things from their side. Full credit to them. There was ownership metrics, there was management that was motivated, the very smart people and collaborators that we work with, and they took it to the next level, and slowly the product expanded there. The entire credit union uses the product, they love the product, and it has 91% accuracy rate. Today, more than 40,000 questions have been answered. 40,000 questions have been answered over last 4 years. And it's a huge success story. It's equivalent of 2 FT. We did a calculation once. It's equivalent of, even using very modest estimates, it is equivalent of saving 2 FT worth of effort for a credit union, right? So just imagine if you work for a larger organization, how much of effort saving you're going to make doing that. So what are the next steps, right? And what are the summary? Well, my recommendation is get started on it. You have more than enough tools today. So technology is not a problem anymore, right? So if anyone is saying, well, I don't know how it will work, well, the technology is not a problem. There's really employee centric, very savvy technology, if I may say, like ours, which are available today. Set very clear targets for next few quarters, what you want to achieve next quarter and the quarter after that, and so on and so forth. So be clear about what you want to achieve, and typically companies like us will help you. And of course, get your organization to rally with it, get employees excited about it, right? And they will, once they see that there's a fantastic product that they interacted with, and they're getting, if they can get something in 10 seconds, the answer to a question, and they don't have to go anywhere, they're going to love it, and they're going to come back for more. So that's our recommendation in terms of what you should be doing. I'm going to pause. I know I went very quick today. We did it in 30 minutes. And hopefully it was useful. So I want to pause and see if there are any questions, any comments, anything that you want to ask. Okay, I think we are kind of out of time and I didn't see any questions yet, although there are a lot of participants, but I'm not seeing enough question yet. So I'm gonna pause right now for today. Thank you so much. Please welcome you to come to Resolve.ai and look us up. And oh, there's a question. Are you going to demo? Well, I was not, sorry, there is a question that came in. Are you going to demo? And I was not planning to demo right now, but having said that, why not? Why not take you to where, how the product looks? So this is how the product looks. You have this, nice little Teams app, and it can be in Slack as well. And you come here and you start asking questions. There is nothing much to it really. It's very, very simple. You come here and you can just start asking any questions. So for example, if you say, what is our expense policy, right? That's it. You ask a question and you shall have an answer. As simple as that. The answer can be image, the answer can be GIF, the answer can be link, the answer can be text, of course, the answer can be multi-step, right? So there are a lot of possibilities here, but that way. There's another question, and I'm very happy to give a more detailed demo, right? So we will reach out to you, just book a meeting. I'm very happy to give a more detailed demo because I'm seeing a lot of comments about demos. Is there any other way to quantify the benefit to KM to convince the customer? Let's say the HR. Yes, absolutely. We have metrics. We can share metrics with you, and you can you can look at the metrics to see how that entire thing works. So metrics for each department, metrics for the entire organization, metrics of employee productivity benefit, metrics for customers, like agent product efficiency benefit, all kind of metrics we have. Listen, we are out of time. There's one more question. How long does it take to capture the prerequisite documentation? Typically a month or less, depending on how big an organization we are talking about. Because we have AI ingester of knowledge. If you give us the knowledge, we can just boom, digest it and create Q&A out of it. So a month is a fair time. If you have the knowledge ready, it should not be a problem. There are a lot of questions. We are going to note the questions. We are going to reach out to by email. Very interactive session. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll see you around again.